Hello and welcome to Plant Crafted Pantry. Today we are canning chickpeas in my Nesco Smart Cooker and Canner. First we want to soak the chickpeas. So here I'm measuring out 2.5 cups of dried chickpeas, which is 1/2 cup per pint that we're going to can, and giving those a good rinse. Then I'm putting them back in my measuring cup and covering them by double with some fresh water and adding 2.5 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. This will help make them a little easier to digest. Then I'll put the lid on that and let them soak for about 24 hours. I did rinse them and replace the water and apple cider vinegar about halfway through. So this is the next day after they've finished soaking. I'm going to give them another good rinse and then add them to our cooking pot, again covering by about double with fresh water. Then we'll get those on the stove, add the lid, and bring them up to a boil. Now it's just starting to boil, so I set a timer for 30 minutes and I'm going to skim off the foam from the top. I did this a couple of times while they cooked and gave them a good stir a couple of times too. Now they've boiled for 30 minutes, so I'm going to drain off the cooking liquid and then give them another good rinse with hot water. Now I have 5 hot, clean pint jars, and I'm dividing the chickpeas between the jars, which is about 2/3 full. And then adding fresh boiling water to 1 inch of headspace. Then I'm debubbling and checking that headspace. Now I'm wiping down the rims with some white vinegar, which isn't totally necessary for this since there's nothing sticky, but it's a good habit to be in. And then adding some new canning lids and putting on the rings to fingertip tight. And then we'll get those loaded up in the canner. So here's all 5 jars in the canner. I do have the canning rack in the bottom as well as 8 cups of hot water. So we'll get the lid closed up here and turn the dial to exhaust. And then for pressure cooking, we'll push high and then set our canning time, which is 75 minutes for pints, and then start. And you'll see the chasing lines as the canner starts heating up. When it starts steaming, the display will go to E10, which is the exhaust countdown. When it gets to 0, we'll switch the dial to airtight. And then it'll come up to the correct pressure for canning, and then it'll start your canning timer. So after the 75 minutes are up, I let the canner sit for about 2 hours to release pressure. And then we'll open the lid. There's still some steam escaping, so I partially opened the lid and set it back down for a few minutes before fully opening it. Then we'll get the jars out of the canner and set them on this dish mat to cool overnight. The next morning, I checked the seals and labeled the jars. I did have 1 jar that failed to seal this time, so I just stuck that one in the fridge to use in the next few days. But we'll get these 4 jars up on the pantry shelf. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you try it out and subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks for watching. Bye.